There. Oh, our sign language. Oh, I forgot to practice. B I D A. I think Emmett might get back to me on that one if Emmett is watching.
Emmett's able to join us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
And I was also going to say it in French, which is they, they, ah.
Oh, Tracy can help with sign language.
Okay.
We'll explore that when we get to Tracy. Awesome.
Yeah, cool.
Okay, so here for another MAAT session.
Oh,
yes,
that's right. Yeah.
Today is February 23rd, 2022, and we're here. Tracy Dorrington-Skinner is going to be joining us here in a little bit, and we're going to talk with her about a nonprofit organization that she started and what she's doing in her community with that work, how she's doing, and also probably touch on some art stuff because I know Tracy is an amazing artist, and we're honored to have her with us tonight. So I am Margaret Major, and I am a registered counseling therapist here at the After Trauma Empowerment Network in Shubenacadie, Nova Scotia. I'm joined with Vida Woodworth, who is co-host and chairperson on our board of directors here at A10. And Kate Matthews is also here. Kate is that mysterious, is there really a Kate kind of person? Because no one ever sees Kate.
She does exist.
She does. And yes, she's so wonderful. We're still working on getting her on the show. We will. When we have our barbecue fundraiser in the spring, we'll invite people to come out and meet Kate. That'll be part of the fundraiser, maybe.
Yes.
Get your picture taken with Kate. Oh, Kate's probably cringing.
Yes.
Yeah. She'll give me a piece of her mind after the show. Okay, so we're going to do a check-in with you, Vida, as soon as we do our diversity welcome. And again, I just want to state that I and Vida did not write this diversity welcome. If anybody out there knows who did write this, please let us know, and we will happily give them the credit they greatly deserve, because this is a great welcome. Okay. So we would like to welcome all women, men, transgender, other and non-identified individuals here today. We welcome everyone here who is a mother, father, sister, brother, auntie, uncle, son, daughter, grandmother, grandfather, parent, sibling. Welcome. We welcome people of all races, tribes, and descents. We welcome your bodies, your minds, your spirit, and your energy. We welcome victims, survivors, and those who support them. We welcome all people single, married, partnered, dating, celibate, or involved in whatever sort of relationship is right for you. We welcome gay, lesbian, bisexual, heterosexual, two-spirited, asexual, polyamorous, demisexual, two-spirited, and others for whom none of those current labels fit. I may have missed one, Vida, sorry. We welcome your emotion, your joy, bliss, sadness, frustration, hope, grief, anger, all that good stuff. Welcome all of your emotions. We welcome everyone's special way of understanding and knowing the world, everyone's wisdom, whether it is education that has been learned in schools, colleges, universities, and/or the deep and profound school of life. We welcome those living with chronic medical conditions and disabilities, visible and invisible. We welcome mystics, seekers, and believers of all kinds. We welcome people who identify as activists, community leaders, group members, musicians, artists, and those who don't. And finally, we'd like to welcome the ancestors who lived in this land where we are now. Welcome the spirits of Mi'kmaq, the natives who lived in this area before the Europeans came. We'd like to acknowledge them and invite their spirits to this space. Everyone, welcome. And thank you so much for being here. We have a few people sitting in on our live session. That's so awesome. If you have any questions or anything, I do see a hand up. Woo. What do I do? Okay, maybe I've done it. I've never seen a hand up before. Okay. Well, it's every day is learning. Every day is learning, Vida.
Yes, it is.
And just one other thank you. Huge thanks to the Mental Health Foundation of Nova Scotia for their financial support for Project MAAT. We are always grateful to the Mental Health Foundation for their support and for the amazing work they do in our province. Yeah. Okay, Vida. So I know it's nice and cool where you're sitting. I may have to disappear off the camera for a moment to open my window because it is very warm in here tonight.
Is it? Yes, it's very nice here now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. How's your week? How are you doing?
My week has gone well. We had beautiful weather again this week, and I'm worried that it's gotten me all excited for spring. And just as I was pulling in, it said on the news or the weather that Friday we were supposed to get 10 to 20 centimeters of snow.
I've heard.
Yeah, I think, as Nova Scotia weather does, it changes sometimes several times in a day.
Yes.
So yeah, we're probably going to have some winter and some more spring and probably other seasons in between the real spring.
Yeah.
Who knows? It might be fall again, and then it might be summer.
Yes.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would.
So my week has been good. I had a cortisone shot in my shoulder yesterday.
Yeah.
And I had tendonitis and or probably lots of arthritis from all of the years I was a softball pitcher, fast pitch pitcher, and also shot putter and discus thrower, and pretty much anything I could throw, I would throw it. And so it's probably arthritis and tendonitis. And I must say, our doctor, because we go to the same doctor, gives a great needle. I was sitting kind of and with a little bit of nervousness and worry. And finally I said to him, okay, I think I'm ready. And he was already finished giving the needle. So, and it didn't get sore last night because sometimes cortisone after the fact, because it's extra fluid in your joint when they inject it, it can be just at least uncomfortable or maybe painful. And I kept waiting, and I made it through. And today it's great. So knock on wood that I haven't jinxed myself. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
And and the Olympics are over, so I've moved on.
Yes.
And there was a lot of kind of controversy with these Olympics. I mean, it was during COVID, and then there were some problems with people testing positive for a banned substance, but yet still being allowed to compete. And which then affected the medal ceremony. And also the NHL players who would have normally, the men's NHL players, well, they're only men at the moment, weren't allowed to compete in the men's hockey. And so that was disappointing for them and for a lot of people. But go Canada Go, we won the gold medal in women's hockey. And yeah, we had four gold medals, 26 medals in total. And yeah, our women athletes really ruled again, as they often do. And so that was nice to see, and some personal best performances, and yeah, so it was fun to watch, even though it was live overnight our time. And then all day we kept getting repeats of things I'd already watched in the night. But and now I'm glad my regular shows are back on at the times they're normally on. So I'm moving on. And last week you and I got to go out to Sabaganagati and talk with youth outreach.
Posse youth group.
Yeah. And what a neat group of people.
I know.
And it was really interesting to, you know, hear about their work and the work they do, and their facilitators or their leaders. And I know that you and Emma went again last night to Windsor to a similar group.
Yeah.
And yeah, so, and we're going to go next week.
Next Thursday to Sackville.
Yeah, to Sackville. So it's kind of nice getting out in the community again.
For the traveling trauma-informed roadshow.
Yes, we are. So did they have as much food last night as they had when we were in Sabaganagati? Did they have snacks?
Oh, they had great snacks.
Yeah,
The same snacks.
Very impressed.
And something that you've mentioned before, and I'm just going to restate something that you have said before, is I and you have both commented how we feel like we learn more from the group we're presenting to
Yes.
than what we're teaching.
Yes, I know.
Like,
and it happens.
Incredible.
Yeah, it does. But it's kind of nice to get in the community, you know, because with the groups we're going to, we're well within the COVID restrictions and following the guidelines. But it's kind of nice to be able to get out and see people that we don't normally see on a regular basis. So
yeah,
I'm hoping as things start to open up, we'll be able to do that more and more.
Yeah.
Yeah. And our youth group, we hope, is starting on Monday coming up.
Yes.
And we have I won't say, because you're going to talk a little bit about something that we're going to be doing with the youth group, but also with our 60 and older group. And yeah. So I can't think, I don't have a lot more to say other than things are going pretty well. And
good.
And yeah, I'm looking forward to getting more involved in some of the things we're doing here, and in hearing about what Tracy's been up to.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I know.
So,
I know she's probably, you know, continuing to do amazing work in her community.
Yeah. Yes. And I'll share a little secret. I used to, Tracy used to volunteer at the women's prison in Truro where I worked. And so I used to get to see her probably at least once a week when she was in working with the women. So it's been a while since I've seen her. Last time I think was the Take Back Tonight March that we did in Truro.
Years ago.
Yeah. So, and I think I might have seen her since then, but I'm looking forward to hearing about what she's been up to. So
yeah,
I will end it there and let you.
Okay. I need to go. I might need a drink of my refreshment.
A little refreshment there
that Vida brought me. Yes, because it looks so refreshing.
Yes, we'll have to get a sponsor for our refreshments.
We will.
Yeah,
and sour candy.
Oh, of course. Yes.
So I just, before we introduce Tracy, I just quickly have a couple of things that I wanted to mention. So we are having two workshops. It's the same workshop, but it's being presented in two different on 2 different dates. So March 8th, well, I guess I should introduce the workshop first. The
Yes.
workshop is self-love and compassion. So it's a practice of self-love and compassion through the art of letter writing. And the counseling intern, Emma Palumbo, will be here facilitating that. So March 8th is open to anyone. And then March 15th is 60 and over. So it's like a seniors elder kind of group.
Mhm.
I'll put the, because we have limited space available, you need to pre-register for this event. So I'll put Emma's email in the description underneath. And if
Yeah.
you're interested, please send Emma an email and we'll hold you a seat, and it'll be a great experience, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's free. So in case
Yes,
people
it
are
is.
wondering. Yeah.
And there will
Which-
be snacks, which is a lovely word. Isn't snacks just,
Yes.
I don't care
Yeah.
what the snack is, I just want to snack on it.
Yeah. There'll be snacks
Yes, we'll have
And-
snacks.
and maybe other surprises too. You just never know.
There might be some sour candies in the cupboard.
Yeah.
Okay. So something I just, and we could spend a lot of time on this, but I just wanted to make a note that starting this week, and I believe most of next week, if not of all of next week, the public hearings are happening in Halifax regarding the mass shooting that happened here in Nova Scotia, April 2020. Vida and I are going to do a special MAAT session where we're going to talk about some coping strategies and self-care, because that is going to be a very incredibly difficult process. It's going to bring up a lot for the families that have been affected, for the individuals that have been affected. And this was a monumental trauma in our province. And yes, so Vida and I, we don't have a date for that session yet, but we will be doing that probably within the next week or so. And we'll get that up as soon as we can. And I also, there's been a lot of loss in the past month that I've heard from a lot of clients, and even personally, I have close friends that have lost family members. And I just want to remind people that grief is normal. Hurting means that you cared, and to allow that. That's part of loving.
Yeah. Is going through grief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know the ends here, and I just want to say, Flash, what a guy.
Yeah.
Such a great guy.
Yeah. I didn't know him, but I think I shared with you, Margaret, when I read his obituary, or the write-up that was online. I wish I had known him. He just seemed like he was such a special person. He was a gift to his family, to his friends, to his community.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking of everyone who's been affected by his loss. But in at least in my beliefs, he's watching over you all now.
Yeah.
So before he always kept an eye on people, but now he can kind of look over everyone.
Yeah.
And
With that shining smile.
Yeah.
It's such an amazing smile.
Yeah. So I have, I guess, going through my own grief process throughout my life. And to have, I guess for me, what's worked is I actually feel closer to some of the people who have passed away, because I know I can feel them with me all the time. And I think I'm more focused on that because they're not here for me to see.
Mhm.
And so it's helped me to kind of be open to that energy that
Yeah,
they always had, and that I'm, is with me all the time. So yeah.
beautiful. Thank you.
So anyway,
Okay.
anyone who is grieving, it's a process, and it's an ongoing thing, and it's there's no time to start it, and there's no time to end it.
No.
It'll
No.
it'll come and go as time comes and goes. So
Yeah. It will.
yeah. Anyway,
Okay. So I think we're gonna introduce
move.
Tracy now.
Yes.
Okay.
So
So this we're now going to be joined with by Tracy Dorrington-Skinner, the one, the only Tracy Dorrington-Skinner.
hi, Tracy.
There she is.
Hi,
Hey.
how's everyone?
Oh,
We're great.
well, I think Vida's a bit cooler than I am.
I have an
There's
open
something
window.
going on with the heat in the office today. It's just, it's so warm in here.
Because it's 10 degrees outside.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah,
happily.
yeah.
We'll take it.
Yes.
Yes.
How are you doing, Tracy?
I'm doing well. I'm doing quite well, thank you. I'm busy. It's hard not to be busy when you wear so many hats in the town of Truro and your jobs and things like that. So yeah, I keep busy anyway. I enjoy being busy. But as some people keep telling me, remember to take care of yourself and to take care of your
Yes.
health. And
Yeah.
and I've actually been doing that. I've been taking the time for me, and taking a day and just going out in the woods, going for a walk,
Ooh,
checking to a
good stuff.
hotel away from the house, no cooking, no cleaning.
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
just breathing.
Getting your
Yes.
beautiful hair done.
Oh, thank
Yes.
you. My friend Florence
I
Desmond
so
here in
love it.
Truro, she's very well known for her braiding techniques, and she does my hair whenever I need to look young again.
That's what I have to do.
Yes, the braids.
Yes.
It's the braids. I was sitting backstage and I was listening to what you guys were saying in your introductions, and one of the things that kind of sat with me was the part about grief, because our community is so interconnected. And when you lived in a small community, like a lot of people in the cities don't know their neighbors. Well, we know everybody up and down our streets.
Right.
And,
Yes.
and are probably babysat or, had some connection with family. So, and there's been quite a bit of death in our community throughout this whole COVID pandemic. And so, yeah, so our community is grieving, and along with other communities. And like you said, time heals all wounds. And, you just got to take it, one day at a time, and deal
Yeah.
with your emotions as they come, and try not to
Yeah.
make any excuses for them. Allow
Yeah.
them to be and move right along.
Yeah.
It's a long
Great
process.
advice. That's
Yeah.
so true,
Yeah.
Tracy. Yes.
Yeah.
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 I'm well, we're honored that you took time out of your busy schedule of, assisting your community to join us.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
And I just want to hear more about all the work that you're doing in your community, because I know that you're very busy and you've got your hand in this and your hand in that.
Yeah, so I chair our African Nova Scotia community, kind of a community committee called the Community Enhancement Association. The Community Enhancement Association will be celebrating 40 years this year.
Oh, wow.
So
Wow.
yeah, so hopefully now I'm hearing that March 21st there's going to be no further restrictions with this COVID pandemic.
I've heard.
So hopefully we'll be able to celebrate, as we need to, because we've been cooped,
Yes.
we've been cooped up for a long time, and we've
Yeah.
had those little breaks, but we really haven't had, so I think that'll be important.
Yeah.
So in that capacity, I chair that committee. We have been going through transition. We came to a point where, of course, everybody was tired, and the pandemic didn't allow us to meet, and a lot of things like that. So we really had to regroup. And through the COVID pandemic, we've learned so much about each other in terms of their capacity and what they love to do and things like that. So we're very fortunate to have some new faces in the crowd. We're lucky to have, people from the community coming back to the Community Enhancement Association in support. We've been partnering with the town of Truro on a lot of initiatives and events. We've been working with anybody that we can to try to, We Are Young has a program where they take care of, they're looking out for the seniors. So we were over Valentine's Day, we were able to deliver chocolates to the seniors in the community,
Oh,
just to let them know that we're thinking about them.
oh, that's so sweet.
And that's what the message is on the package. This sweet treat is from someone in your community who wants to let you know they're thinking of you.
Oh,
Very
wonderful that
nice.
they
Right?
do that.
Yeah.
Every
So-
community needs that.
I know. And you know what? The thing about it is for us is because we've been so cooped up, it gives us an opportunity to just check in on our seniors and see that they are doing okay.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Because we all put on that brave face and when we're, facing and, different things. But, we can see you know what? You're not doing too bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you can also see those that are struggling as well and being able to offer, whatever help you can offer. And, even if it's just a listening ear, because that goes so much further than people even realize,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So, yeah, that was wonderful. I also chair a new committee in the town of Truro, which is a bit of a partnership between the town and the African Nova Scotian community to make sure that the contributions of African Nova Scotians to Truro and its beginnings are recognized and that, we know about them. Recently, there was I won't even say it was recently, but there was one of the medallions from the number 2 construction battalion found at the tech ground. And so that is now sitting at the Truro Historium. And so now we're able to, the number 2 construction battalion is going to receive an apology from the Department of National Defense, and I believe that'll be held here in Truro. So that'll be, you know what I mean? So there's a lot going on. We, last night there was, I wasn't able to attend, but last night they had an event at the Marigold Center where they talked about a barber back in the early 1900s who was instrumental in setting up Truro's fire department.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh.
We learned that there was a race riot here in Truro in the early 1900s, and that people came over 2,000 strong and blockaded the African community in its community. And so, all of those pieces of history and stuff that we're learning about are not only crucial to us as African Nova Scotians, but it's crucial to people in Truro to learn this history and stuff as well.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, Black Girl Magic
Yeah.
that is now 1 year old. We're celebrating 1 year in March.
Woo.
So excited.
Yes.
We Black Girl Magic started as a result of a couple of things. So before the pandemic actually happened, I was working in Dartmouth at a project called Creating Communities of Care. And these were communities for people who were experiencing abuse of any kind could access services and resources to help them through systems and to help them navigate where they needed to go and things like that from an African Nova Scotian's perspective. And so, of course, COVID shut that down. We started in January and in March we were home. So the program was kind of put on hold, and the organization, the Association of Black Social Workers, they opened a COVID response, an emergency line, because when COVID first started, you remember North Preston was called out as one of the communities where that was a hot spot at the beginning of the pandemic.
Yes.
And so they opened this, So they opened up a line where people could call in if they had tested positive, they could receive food boxes. Since a lot of people lost their jobs, they had an income supplement program. They had access to doctors, and they had practitioners for mental wellness, a number of resources that were available to them. So I was the team lead at that time. So I kind of triaged a lot of the things that weren't going so smoothly or needed an extra level of intervention or whatever. And through that, we discovered that our women talk about abuse differently. So a woman would ask to see a doctor before they would admit that they were, a victim of abuse, or, you know what I mean? And so through that, I realized a lot of things because, again, I was that team lead and did a lot of intervention and triaging. I learned a lot about our community. I also realized that our community is not really having that conversation about abuse because of the stigma and the Black woman, the strong Black woman, and all of those things. And you know what I mean? So those conversations they are now starting to be held more regularly, more openly. But again, the stigma around mental wellness being connected with crazy, then, so those were a little difficult to talk about. So Black Girl Magic, and I thought, okay, after that program kind of died off and it went into a response line, the need for the emergency stuff wasn't there. The program ended up being cut off because of the, coming back from COVID and still having to work from home. So we got laid off as a result. But they also they realized that since they were providing this service to North Preston, other African Nova Scotian communities may be suffering some of the same, need and what have you. So what they did was they stationed a community person in each community to talk to the seniors, to talk to the youth, to talk to families, share resources and stuff like that. So I was the one here for Truro. And that's when I realized that our services for our community are not program oriented. Our services in our community are not face to face in terms of the help and the resources that are needed. So having come from an executive director at a women's resource center, I saw the need to have one for the African Nova Scotian community here in Truro. So I very boldly one day filled out a bunch of papers and called a bunch of friends of mine to say, listen, would you sit on a board for me? Just it's an interim board. And we did that. We did our papers. We sent them in the registry of joint stocks, and voila, Black Girl Magic was a thing.
Good for you.
Wow.
Yay. Yes.
It's
So we
so
operate-
inspiring.
Pardon me?
So inspiring, Tracy.
Well, you know what? There's a need.
Yes.
Yes,
based on the need.
absolutely.
And because I'm that person that I don't like to see anyone left behind. I don't like to see people suffering, and I don't like to see people struggling. And if there's anything that I can do to help in any way, then I like to try to help. And then I realized, like, Tracy, you can't do this by yourself. You are not an island, my dear.
Oh, no.
Right?
No.
So that's when I realized, oh my goodness, I need to get some people in my corner that are like-minded. And I was very fortunate to have a clinical social worker, a lady from the education system, a lady from VON, a retired VON, a lady who's still working in home care. These folks came to me and said, yes, we will do this because we see the need. So we started working and trying to figure out some pillars under which we could work. So we identified 4 pillars: education, mental wellness, social justice, and just community kind of in general. And so we came across this grant that said that we could run a program for our youth. And I'm of the mindset that the more resources that you can put in the hands of the young people, the better, you equip them for life, and the better resources, and they change over time. They can change with them as they need to. So we now run a program here in Truro called I Am Somebody 2.0.
Oh,
And
love that.
it is a program where the kids come out on a Saturday. So years ago in our community, we had a program called Saturday School, where kids were taught about their culture and did cultural activities, talked about things like Jeremiah Jones, the Black Construction Battalion, and Black Truro in general, and our heroes and sheroes and stuff like that. So they had that knowledge. And my children actually attended that program. And they created this mantra: I am somebody, I believe in myself, I can achieve anything I set my mind to. I am proud of who I am and where I come from. I will always respect myself and others. I will always strive to achieve my best because I am somebody. So that was their
I got
mantra.
goosebumps when you said that.
Right? And so I was hoping to give this generation an opportunity to have that experience of being immersed in culture and learning. And fortunate for me, the girl that we hired to coordinate the program was a junior leader at the time the program was running here in Truro, and now she's coordinating that program. So it's wonderful to see her growth and her journey. And I was able to hire 4 staff altogether to run this program through the grant.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
Yeah.
Good for you.
yeah.
Yeah.
So the program is very well resourced. When we wrote the grant, we kind of thought about things like guest speakers and honorariums for them, and travel could be an issue. So we could make sure that there was money every Saturday for someone to get a tank of gas to run around and pick the kids up. You know, and we wanted to provide snacks and have funds on special days and different things like that. So yeah, I'm very, very proud of that program, and it's they do all of the artsy stuff that I love to do. Right now, they're in the process of creating a kente cloth. And I don't know if you can see, you can see Margaret's kente.
Yep.
And
Yep.
this is a kente.
Yes.
So it's in trying to recreate a kente, what we did was we took, you know, those tongue depressors.
Yes.
And so you paint a kente pattern on it and you put it on a board. And when it comes to life, you have a great big kente cloth.
Oh,
That's
right?
cool. Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. So
Thank you
those,
for that. Yeah.
pardon me?
Thank you for sharing that. That's
Oh, yeah. So I share that with everybody because that's a simple project that everyone can do. You know what I mean? And Vida had mentioned in her opening that she and I had did some work together at the Nova Institute for Women.
Mhm.
Well, guess what,
Yes.
Vida? She's back.
Oh, you're back. Whoa. The women will be very happy.
Yeah. So and out there, I wear different hats. So I'm a part-time social programs officer when they need somebody to fill in.
Mhm.
My job as the African Canadian liaison officer is a part-time position, but my full-time job during the day, I work with the Mentoring Plus strategy in Truro, and we are conducting a social justice model in the prison, whereby we hope to create some resources from women when they get released from the institution, going out in the community. We can provide mentors to, you know, help them navigate these systems that have, you know, they've been away from for a little while.
Yes.
Or maybe
Yes.
a long time, to help them navigate
Yeah.
themselves back into community, to provide some of those follow-up resources, you know, those types of things.
Yep.
So, you know, hopefully we can help, you know, put a damper in recidivism and that they don't go
Yeah.
back, and, you know, and that kind of stuff. Plus it gets our seniors out and helping, that decreases social
Yes.
isolation
Oh.
and, you know,
Wow.
yeah.
So what do you do with all your free time?
I know. I'm getting, my shoulders are getting weighed down just
Yes.
listening to everything you do.
Yes.
Tracy.
It's paced. I had to hit it so that it paced, so that I don't feel like I'm go, because I
Yeah.
have 2 grandchildren now.
Yes, you do. I've seen a
I-
few pictures of them. Very handsome
Can you tell I'm a
grandchildren.
proud grandmother?
Oh, yeah.
But I like to
Wow.
spend time with my grandboys, and to me, it's like it's that little boost that you need, that extra ray of sunshine and the innocence of children, and you know, and they
Oh,
want to
yes.
crawl all over you and love you to death, and I just love all
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
that. Yeah, then I don't spoil them at all.
No.
I don't
No.
imagine you do.
I've never met a grandmother yet who spoiled their grandchildren. Never.
Oh my goodness
Yes.
gracious, yeah.
Oh, that's
But
so
yeah,
great.
so I'm out at the prison pretty much regularly every day.
Okay.
And
Good.
doing
Good.
some work in different capacities, and
Yeah.
and I love it because it's I feel like they're feeling that they have a voice.
Good.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it doesn't even have to be nothing big. Like one of the folks were wanting to have a picture moved because it's a picture that brings great inspiration, and it was in a spot that people couldn't see it.
Yes.
That's an
Yeah.
easy button,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
So we press the
Yeah.
easy button on those types of things.
Yeah.
But the
I
other
was
thing that
thinking.
we're trying to do, that's going to take a little bit of a longer time, and it's going to take a little bit more input from everyone, is that we're trying to design a process together that we can solution things that are issues, right?
Yeah.
So talking about a better process to address things like the use of the N-word, or address things around conflict and things around that
Yeah.
nature.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
if we design a process where somebody can say, we need to have a process, or whatever they call it, when it's designed, then they'll know what that looks like and what the expectations are. So,
Yeah.
and they're going to design it themselves based on what they know works best for their space and with their, within the pandemic and within the rules of Nova and all those kinds
Yeah.
of things. So,
Yeah, we were
Yeah.
talking last week, I think it was last week, about Viola Desmond and about her work that she did, starting her own business and her own products, and
Yeah.
it was making me think back to my days at Nova and the struggle that we went through, just trying to make sure that the Black women had access to the proper hair care products and
Right.
skin products and someone who knew how to do black hair and all of that. So
Yeah.
nice to know that you're there on a regular basis, and that part of your job is kind of helping them find ways, because
Yeah.
they have the answers and they know the systems. So having you to work with them is wonderful.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
yeah,
And I think a bit of that also comes from my work during the restorative inquiry into the Nova Scotia Home for Colored Children, and having
Yes.
taken a lead role in that, and being the only female on that voices team,
Yeah.
and the work that we did and the process that we came up with, that it is a pretty neat process. You know what I mean? No one gets left behind. People can, ensure that their voices are heard, and that way, when we design a process, it'll never be anybody will have like a win-win. To have a win-win, we have to have a situation where nobody wins, but
Yeah.
yet we have a situation that everybody agrees will work.
Yeah.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
Right.
well said. Yeah.
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 And the work you're doing with the women at Nova, the word that kept popping into my mind is how you're empowering them.
Oh,
Like-
yeah.
Like that's,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's my goal, is to help them find their voices and to empower them to use their language in a different way so that their voices are actually heard.
Mm.
Because one of the things that I share with them, my experience, and coming up through my 20s and 30s, being, a traumatized woman, I was very loud. I was very boisterous. I had a lot to say, but nobody was listening to me because I was yelling and shouting. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And so once I learned that, okay, Tracy, you have to tone it down. You have to take the emotion out of it and get to the issues. Well, how do you do that? Well, I learned to do that through art and different things of that nature, so that I could get my point across. You know what I mean? And to be able to share that in a way, if I didn't have the words, I would let my paintbrush or my pencil do the work for me.
Mhm.
You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to hear more about your art.
Oh,
How art has helped you through your life in, dealing with trauma.
Margaret, it's funny because all my life I said I can't even draw a straight line with a ruler. But for some reason, when I was going through my healing journey, and it was like over, what was it, 16, 17-year process, in all honesty, to go from a point of getting in to see a therapist and start the process and fiending for the process and getting into a point where the process is okay with you and you're working through it. And then you're looking at, oh my goodness, it's 16 years later. You know what I mean? And so through that time, there was times when I had difficulty expressing exactly what I was that I wanted to say, because at that time I think I was still afraid to admit that I was that people had abused me. I was, you know what I mean? That caused me some trauma. So I couldn't vocalize that. I couldn't put it into words. But through my drawings and through my poems and things like of that nature, I was able to share not only what I was going through, but I was actually able to share my emotion with it. And by sharing the emotion with it, made me able to see the realities in it. You know what I mean? Where my actual power lies, where my forward movement lies, how I'm making a difference, how I'm growing myself. Those were, and it took me, and in actuality, I didn't realize that I was actually growing in that magnitude until I went back and read some of my poems and hung the art on the wall and looked at it in all of it. And I'm thinking, oh boy, that was a journey. But now I embrace that so much because that's me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've learned to love me through that. I've learned to embrace every bit of what I bring. The kids tell me, you Miss Tracy, you bring your whole self.
I'm gonna remember that.
Yeah, you bring your whole self. And I said, yeah, well, sometimes you have to bring your whole self. You have to bring your anger. You have to bring your agony. You have to bring your pain. You have to bring your joy.
Mhm.
You have to bring it all, because you can't heal what you don't reveal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
So
true.
through that, I was able to reveal my pain through my art, through my drawings. And then even as like in behind me, like I wouldn't put my own art up in my house for the longest time, but now I put my
Yeah.
art in my house because it matters for me.
I love that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that
So
matters for me.
simple, but powerful and beautiful.
And that, and most of my work is very simple like that, but it tells a bigger story. You know what I
Oh,
mean? 'Cause,
yes.
you know, and so I went through this phase where, you know, when you say to yourself, I can't paint a lick. So I bought a bunch of canvases and I just painted the background of all these canvases.
Okay.
About 20 canvases. I just painted the backgrounds, and some of them were pretty enough to put up by themselves.
Mhm.
But then as time went on, and you know, I come through a situation, I felt a color, and I already had it there. So to me, it was like I was told beforehand to do these because it's going to be part of my journey. I believe that everything that I am today and where I am today, all of that stuff that I went to 55, 56 years ago has
Mhm.
prepared me to be right where I am today in a way that I can walk boldly in it.
Mhm.
And that's big.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know what I
No, it
mean?
is.
I never thought in my life that I would be leading a process in a prison.
Yeah.
That's
No.
huge,
It
Yeah.
is.
Big.
It
you
is.
know.
It is.
But
And
I do embrace that I've learned everything that I need to learn to be in this space.
Mhm.
yes.
Yeah.
You know.
Yes. Your growth is immense.
Thank you, thank you. I
And
feel
I'm
that now.
I'm just wondering, like with the women at Nova and the work you're doing out in the community, do you incorporate art or
All the
try
time.
to? Okay.
All the time. For instance, there's one girl in particular that she's not the artsiest person, but she loves art. And so we do things like, well, we went up to the park one day and we looked at this tree for the longest time. And we came up with words to describe this tree. It was old, it was gray, it was knobbly, it was all of these wonderful words. And then we took those words and put it into a poem about the tree.
Oh,
You know what I mean? And
yeah.
so,
Yeah.
and then after so can you see yourself in some of these words that you've used to describe this tree? Majestic and, you know, all of those words.
Yeah.
Do you see? And so she was kind of like, I relate to nature better than I ever thought. So now she's out in nature every day. She's feeling the air. She's
Good
in the
stuff.
summertime, she's rowing. In the wintertime, she's snowshoeing and skiing and all of this. And I just love the fact that she found a way to, you know, deal with what she needs to and has now an outlet by being out
Yeah.
in nature,
Yeah.
you know?
Yes.
So if it's not painting, it's writing. If it's not a drawing, at Christmas time, I did one similar to this where I stopped at probably her face and her ear, and I
Yeah.
made her hair out of Christmas bulbs.
Oh, I remember seeing that
Yeah.
on your Facebook. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That was
So
beautiful.
So
those kinds
creative.
of
Yeah.
things that they
Yeah.
inspired me because there's not a whole lot of Afrocentric stuff out there.
No.
You know what I mean? If I
No.
want a set of curtains, or my sisters sent me this beautiful blanket years ago, and it has empowerment, Black queens, and you know, sayings that are empowering for Black women. But if I want to find those, I can't go down to Walmart and just pick it off the shelf.
No.
Yeah.
I have to order it online, or, you know, have someone specially make it. Even like the Black Lives Matter masks that my daughter makes, you can't just go into the store and find anything that, you know what I mean? That
Yeah.
specifically that
Yeah.
speaks to Black people. So
Yeah.
that's the other reason why. And even when I'll go online and I'll try to find a picture that's so inspirational to me and I'll try to draw it, it doesn't happen because it's not my picture.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
but when I take that picture and then I try to draw it from my mind's eye
Yeah.
and how I perceive it, then I get something like this,
Yeah.
Yes.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm just wondering, because somebody may watch this and they might want to try doing something artistic or creative, if you had someone who's like, bah, I've never done anything, how might you invite them? Or
Oh, this is what I tell people, especially when they say, I can't do that. Well, if you can't do it, then there's no sense in me even trying to help you. But if you're open to trying it, then I can. So,
Mm.
and I just say, listen, start like I said, just take a canvas and paint it one color. And if you don't like that color, put another color on it. If you don't like that color, draw a line on it. And eventually you're going to get better at drawing and painting the colors that you like. And then you're going to try to draw pictures and faces or whatever your inspiration is. And you're going to really mess up the first couple of times. Expect that. You might get lucky the first time,
maybe,
but that's rare. But if you
Yeah.
if you do, then that's great. And if you don't give up.
Yeah. Yeah. And I
Don't
like
give up.
the what you shared about taking the woman with you and going and looking at a tree and just thinking about the
Yes.
words that
Yeah.
describe that tree, and then taking those words and writing a poem using those words, or
Yeah.
writing a story, or painting a picture using, so it doesn't have to be a big elaborate thing. It can be something very simple,
Mhm.
but
And it
you
doesn't even
can,
have to be pretty.
no,
You know, one of my favorite pieces of art, I still look at it, I say, that's the ugliest thing I ever did, but it's the first thing that I can say that I intentionally
Yeah.
did. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's,
I love
find
that.
the power in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. I love how you said that. Yes.
Yeah.
To find the power in it. Because I mean, like a lot of people, everything is not for everyone. I
Yep.
went to several, first timers, and I said, you know what? I could see how this could be beneficial, but it's just not my zhizh, so to
Yeah.
speak. You know what I mean? So,
Yep.
but I
Yeah.
tried it, and there may be some element of it that I'm going to pursue further.
Yes. Yeah.
There's something for everyone out of everything. I never walk away with something from something and not have a newfound something.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Learning
Yeah.
every day. Like there's
Every
day.
opportunities to learn every day.
Lifelong.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I enjoy helping people. I know what it's like not to have stuff. I know what it's like to do without. And I'm fortunate enough to be able to have a little bit of knowledge that I can help with resources and things like that are very empowering to that individual in ways that I don't even know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tell the story that there's one of my girlfriends, her daughter got married it's about 10 years ago now. And she was one of my students in school that I really never had seen a whole lot. She was a good student, made good marks, was in school on time and all of that kind of stuff. And when she got married, she introduced me to her husband as her mentor. And I thought I was never a mentor to her because I didn't see her a lot, but it just goes to show you that what you do outside, to help others and to benefit others and uplift others, people look at that as, I'm learning from you,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And
sometimes we do that and you never know. You never know
Right.
who's listening or paying attention to
That's
what you're
right.
saying and doing. Yeah.
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 And especially that I got the 2 grandboys, I want them to kind of look at life differently than, like I'm telling them, I said, how do you treat women? Respectfully. How,
Mhm.
What does respect look like? You don't talk bad about people. You don't gossip. And they're 4 and 5.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But their mom had them doing yoga and practicing spirituality since they were old enough to. So, and she's
Yeah.
been talking to them about what it is to be a good man, but what it is to be a good citizen.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And the fact that we play on their name. So it's a Mary King and a Shea Prince. Well, kings and
Yes.
princes live to a higher standard. Right.
Yeah.
So therefore, we teach you about, and even like interacting at times when, I've seen a Shay take his brother's hand and walk down the street because one's going to daycare, one's going to school, but they're holding each other's hand, so it shows you that they care about each other.
Yeah.
And how it's not embarrassing for boys to hold hands, and
No.
support one another.
Yeah.
And that, even when Shay falls and hurts himself, Amari will go over and hug him because he's hurting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To
Yeah.
just to let them know that what you do to women, you can do with men as well. It's a
Yeah.
very, women need the same support as, you do with your brothers and stuff like that. So yeah, we're
Beautiful.
trying to raise them differently.
Yeah.
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 And I'm
Wow.
just noticing our time here. It's
Yes.
Oh my
almost
goodness,
7 o'clock.
It's flown by.
It
That's
just,
so fast.
it seemed like we've only been chatting for, 3 or 4 minutes.
I
It's
know.
been like almost 40 minutes.
Wow,
Wow.
that's crazy. Well, you have a good time spot then.
Well,
Yes.
so
We-
I have kind of, it's an unusual question that I ask guests sometimes. Actually, I have two.
Okay.
Okay, and you don't have to answer them if you don't want to. What would be your favorite potato chip?
My favorite potato chips, sour cream and bacon.
Okay. And do you prefer pizza or pasta?
Pizza.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
See, those are just two kind of fun questions that I
Oh
like
yeah,
asking
pizza
people.
all the way.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
can't ruin pizza unless you overcook it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, and like
Yes.
snacks, pizza is a tasty word. It just
Oh yes.
it tastes
Yeah, you're
oregano.
right. Yeah, but I heard you say that at the beginning, snacks, because every time we have something, we try to have a little snack because it's a great motivator.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it
It
is.
It
really
is.
Like you said, people
Yeah.
love to snack, people love the crunch, and like you said, don't care what the snack is. If there's a snack, I'm having it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I think
Mm.
was there anything in closing that you would like to say, Tracy, before
I
we
would just want to remind anybody that might watch this is just to remember to be good to yourself. Life happens and
Yes.
things happen unexpectedly. And when they do, don't beat yourself up about it.
Mm.
Allow your emotions to be what they are and find a way to sit with them until you can find a new one.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful.
You're
And I
going to have to start writing a book if you haven't already, Tracy. You're going to
You know
have
how often I hear that?
Well,
probably a lot. I would say a lot.
it might be
because
your
you-
network of art.
You've got a poetry book you can write, but you also have three books. A poetry book,
That she went from 1 to 3.
a book about your life, but also just a book on Tracy's tips for living.
And I'd like to add a
Oh.
fourth. She could do
Okay.
an art book as well.
Yes,
A which?
Art.
an art book.
Oh, now
Yeah.
there's something.
So you got
Yeah.
four more
So
tasks.
there's something to do in your free time. You can start writing 4 books all at the same time.
I'll start that on Summer's Day.
Okay, yeah. At 47 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh
well,
my
I
goodness.
just thank you so much, Tracy, for sharing with us. Thank you so much for the incredible work you're doing in the community with the women at Nova, with the youth, with our older population, uniting them, and just, thank you.
You're
Yeah.
welcome. It's actually my pleasure.
I know it is.
Well, yeah. Well, it's fun, Tracy, when you have a job that you get to go to and you don't really feel like it's a job.
Exactly.
I think you found that one.
I find that with my community work most
Yeah.
often. Yeah.
Yeah.
I look
Yeah.
forward to them. And in doing stuff like this, even like I had a lady called me, they were doing a panel for the Mass Casualty Commission, and they asked me to sit on it. But at that time, I thought it would have been just a little bit much for me to delve into in that manner and recognize that. So
Yeah.
Good for
yeah.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do believe that I hope that through this this inquiry that they'll be able to make some sense of the things that transpired and be able to take some learning away from that, and that in the end of it that we'll have better response, better whatever we need to have in terms of emergencies in our community and what have you, and that they come up with a process that we can all use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my hope.
Yes,
Yes.
And hope is one of my favorite words.
yes, yes, it's a wonderful word. I mean,
It is.
it's such a positive word. And I always think of Hope Swinmer now and Hope for Wildlife and the
Yeah.
work she does and just transfer that to all the work we do. You know,
Mm.
we wouldn't keep doing it if it wasn't that we didn't have hope.
That's right.
So, and as long as we have hope, we're doing all right.
Right.
Yeah.
And we do have
Yeah.
a piece from you hanging in our board meeting room.
That's right.
A hope piece.
Mhm.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And the reason why I when I sent it to you, I didn't send you my kind of a reasoning for choosing that, is that that's what you instill in people, hope.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yes. Yeah.
And with hope, that means that I can go on because there's something to look forward to.
Yeah.
And that is something that you instill in folks. And that's the reason why I chose that particular piece for you.
thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Cool.
And
Yeah.
I hope maybe you can come back on, maybe in the summer or
Yes.
something. We can
I'd love to. I'd
we can
absolutely
see what
love
you're
to.
up to. How many books
Yeah.
you've got written by then?
See if I get that introduction to the book
Yeah.
written even.
Yeah. Yes, you can read us a chapter from your book.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you know what? It's funny because I about maybe 2-3 weeks ago, I went through my closet and I was trying to think, okay, what can I get rid of and blah blah blah. When I looked up on top of the closet and I seen a bunch of things that I had written 30-40 years ago. And they were, some of it was poetry, some of it was what was happening at the time. And I might be able to find some stuff through that to put in a book.
Yes,
Okay.
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good to hear that, Tracy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was a bit of a hoarder back there for things that I wrote because, you know, when you come through the situation and when you've been living with trauma, you don't realize what you hold on to and why,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
Right.
until you have a chance to kind of do that 360 and then look back and say, oh, and then I said to myself, I kept these because I didn't want anybody to copy them.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I didn't want anyone to copy my work. And so I kept the original work.
Yeah.
You know, and so now that I did, then I think I did it for a reason.
Yeah.
yes. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Awesome.
Okay. I think we're going to I think maybe if you're okay with it, Vida, we can
Mhm.
just end on that note.
Yes. It's a
I
positive
think
note.
yes, I think Tracy's closing words were
Were-
positive and uplifting.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
don't necessarily need to do a piso meditation. Yeah.
I think you're right.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Margaret, I have another meditation that I'm going to email you.
Okay.
It's a Black Lives Matter meditation.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Please.
Yes. Yeah.
I'd love to see that and share it.
Yes.
Yes.
Share it wherever you need to.
Okay. I will happily do that, Tracy. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Okay.
You have a lovely rest of your evening. And
Thank you.
you've already reminded everyone to practice their self-care. You do the same.
I shall.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much for
Okay.
having me. And like you said, hopefully we'll be back on later on in the fall or whenever you.
Yes.
Oh, yes. We'll
Yeah.
be talking.
Wonderful.
We'll be
You
talking.
guys
Okay.
have a great evening.
You too.
You too.
All right.
Thank you, Tracy.
Okay.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, now I think maybe we'll just
Just that's it.
there's a message over here I need to read quickly. Whoa. I would like to sign up for the workshop. Okay, that's a call I can make.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
so we're gonna leave on that note. We will be back next Wednesday,
Wednesday.
except for the special session that we're gonna do somewheres in there.
Yep. In between. Yeah.
before. And next Wednesday, we have Tasha Head joining us for, she recently had another collection of poetry published. So she's
Okay.
gonna come on and talk about her art of poetry writing.
Sounds lovely.
I know, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so Vida and everybody, please take care of yourself, take care of each other, and be well. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.